to start with, I'm going to talk about how I came up with the concept. I came up with the concept by searching our local news. Our local news last fall had 3 articles, September the 18th, September the 28th, and October the 2nd, so very close together, about West Nile virus. There were a couple of dead birds found with West Nile. We had one confirmed human case of West Nile virus. After that, there were several other articles about spraying for mosquitoes, whether it was for West Nile or Zika. Last year we also, and the year before, we also had a lot of state, North Carolina and South Carolina state news about spraying for mosquitoes to reduce the mosquito-borne diseases. So it's an issue that affects everybody. It becomes very prevalent in the news during the summer months and later in fall months. Climojis. I thought this would be a neat way to kind of allow people to be creative, also to give me an idea of maybe what people are thinking or what they're getting out of the activity itself. I found this article that kind of reinforced this. The effects of arts integrated instruction on memory for science content. This was published in 2019, Trends in Neuroscience and Education. To quote the article, it says, arts experiences are thought to elicit emotional cognition, employ creative thinking pathways, and recruit cognitive processes that inherently facilitate long-term recall. So, arts integration, this would be a way, hopefully, to get people to remember what I was trying to get across, kind of determine, did I get the right information across through the artifact that's created? Guest-centric was one of our first lessons that was highlighted during our meetings every other week. One of the things it says to do is to make it memorable. It needs to be tailored to each person's interest, and it needs to be designed more towards small group or individual, and of course increase engagement. What I designed the activity was to allow each person to create an emoji, and the emoji needed to represent the science behind why West Nile frequency is increasing in our community, and hopefully what I'm getting across to participants, it's because of climate change. So I started out as a teacher, teaching, lecturing the science of climate change and how to prevent the spread of West Nile. Certain strategies used by or recommended by the CDC would be to wear long sleeves, wear long pants, use mosquito spray. If you're going to spend time outside and have a choice, do it more in the mornings than in the evenings. These kinds of strategies. Around the house, empty any containers that are holding water. Decrease areas for the mosquitoes to breed. And so I'll kind of approach this as going through all of this information like a good teacher does, and then asking them to create the emojis. I did this kind of a field test with my students in the classroom. The emoji concept, they loved. Very approachable. It was different. They got to be creative. They got to compare them with each other, everybody else's, and they had a ball with it. It was fun. It was just a great way for them to show me what they had learned. They had learned everything I told them very well. So the kind of emojis I was getting were just pictures of what I was already telling them. These are kind of examples, not really what you would consider very creative emojis. So my second attempt was after school with my students' help. During one of our community events within the school, lots of parents were there for this event, and we set up in the hallway. The students helped me. We had big long white pieces of paper laid out, and parents and the students could explain the connection with West Nile and climate change, what I had taught them, and parents could design their own emojis. We did have a few issues. The biggest problem being confusion. It was difficult to teach the concepts with people walking up at different times. Kind of created a lot of chaos and stress for me, for the students, and it was very easy for everybody to get off topic. And you had some people drawing, you had other people talking, and it just became a big issue. I felt it wasn't centered enough. It was too much, me trying to help the students and get the message across and teach them what, all these concepts I had that I told the students in class to teach, and it just became big issues. So I tried to find a better way, even though the emojis were a little better. They did come out a little bit more creative because we couldn't lecture as much. What I ended up getting was more the single emoji type, more creativity behind it, but I could also tell these types of emojis, especially with this one, that they're connecting the information to past experience, which is important in cognition. So I was pleased with that, but I still think a lot of what I was getting was more mosquito and disease related, not as much climate change and climate change data related. So that was something I wanted to address as I kind of adapted and changed my activity. So I wanted to make it more visible. I wanted it to be more of a drop-in type activity that was easy for people just to walk up and quickly be able to jump into the activity, but still have an artifact from it, an emoji. And I wanted, like I said, I wanted to be sure they were really getting that climate change connection in there. So I started rethinking my setup, I guess you would say. So what do I want the activity to look like? As I move forward, a couple of things I want to address in the activity is I want people to be able to walk up and quickly be able to get started. I want them to be able to kind of read the information. If someone walks up and I'm speaking with somebody else, I want them to be able to become engaged without me having to stop talking to this person and start talking to them. I want to display, but I want to be able to change my display also, because there may be times that I go to North Carolina and actually perform this, and I want to be able to change my banners, my displays easily so that I can bring in more relevant, maybe Zika may be a bigger issue there or in the news there. Zika may become more of an issue here in this community where I am in South Carolina. And if it does, I want to be able to change my banner. I want to constantly be able to update my data that I'm displaying in some way. I want to make it, if it works, I can keep it. If it doesn't work, I can discard that one easily. This is my new design. We're going to construct it out of 1.5-inch PVC pipe and fittings using 1-gallon plastic buckets filled with cement to make sure it's stable and stays up. Then we're going to screw plexiglass onto the PVC, and I have found some peel, stick, and reuse posters from a local drugstore that I can upload my photos, whatever design I come up with, and they'll do the same day printing for me so that I can use them to stick on the plexiglass and change my display. Hopefully with this design I will be able to tell from the emojis, the artifacts, what is working and what is not working, and I can change this over time and hopefully get better and better at giving an outreach with a lot of meaning that I know the participants are receiving the message that I want them to receive, which is that climate change is influencing mosquito-borne diseases. The LED dry erase boards I have ordered from Amazon, and I figured out that I could use a portable power bank so that I can set this display up anywhere. I do not have to have somewhere to plug the boards in, but they're very flashy and kind of entice people in. It makes them want to draw on the board because a lot of people's never tried drawing on the LED boards. I can make them flash and change colors and all kind of neat things. I'll use PVC 1-inch pipe this time in the fittings to make an easel so that I can make a stable area for the boards to stand, and to record my artifacts so that I can keep them over time and kind of see my progression. I will use a camera, or at least a phone with a camera on it, to take pictures of everybody's emoji. My first attempt at using the new design, I decided to take advantage of the opportunity during a camping trip. Very hot, very muggy, mosquitoes everywhere. But it's supposed to turn.